In the original continuity, the reason why Cell was able to pick Android 17 and Piccolo apart so easily was because they had wasted their time wearing each other out and fighting each other first. But what if things had gone differently? What if Piccolo had warned the androids that Cell was coming? How would that affect the outcome of this storyline? Let's go back to the scene where Piccolo is sitting in the ship thinking about how he's going to capture Cell. He starts to have an ethical dilemma within himself. The Piccolo side of him wants to get revenge on Android 17 for humiliating him and knocking him out. But the Kami part of him realizes that the androids are not necessarily evil because of the fact that they spared his life when they could have killed him. They had Piccolo unconscious and they didn't end his life. So he figures that they deserve a fair chance, just like he was given a chance to stop being evil, and even Vegeta was given a chance to stop being evil. And that's when he comes up with a genius plan. He's going to warn the androids that Cell is coming and recruit them to help them overpower and destroy Cell. It's a risky plan, he thinks to himself, because what if Android 16, or what if any of the other androids turn on him after they've killed Cell? But he realizes this is the only reasonable plan to go with, and there really isn't another choice. So fast forward to the scene where the Z-Fighters are asleep at Master Roshi's house. The two useless humans and Tien are asleep on the couch, and Piccolo is watching the news, feeling appalled at all of the atrocities that Cell has committed, when suddenly he hears a knock at the door. The androids have arrived. He immediately opens up negotiations by offering a ceasefire or a truce with Android 17 in exchange for Android 17's help in taking down Cell. Piccolo explains everything to the androids, that Cell is from the future, that he's another android made by Dr. Gero. He explains everything about Cell, even that Cell has some of Goku's DNA. And as soon as Android 16 hears that, he takes interest because he wants nothing more than to get rid of Goku. 17 thinks it over a second and says to Piccolo, "You better not be lying, Green Man, because if you are, I'm gonna skin you." And Piccolo says, "I have no reason to lie to you. This is serious. That island over there. Let's go lure Cell over there so that we can take him out. I will power up to draw Cell's attention. When he comes, we attack him all at once. Got it?" "Sure, Green Man. We'll do whatever you say as long as we get a fun fight, but you better be telling us the truth." Android 16 stares into the distance. Then he stares at Piccolo and says, "Affirmative. Piccolo is telling the truth. His vital signs read that he is telling the truth." "Wow. Didn't know that you were a walking polygraph, big guy. I have many abilities that I don't tell you." So they fly away, and they go to the island where in the original timeline Piccolo and 17 fought. Once they get there, Piccolo powers up to his maximum level so that Cell could sense it and be attracted to the scene to start fighting. When Cell gets there, he immediately releases all of his energy and he charges straight for Piccolo and punches him. But in the original storyline, this punch knocked Piccolo out. But in this storyline, because Piccolo's fresh and he hasn't been injured by Android 17, the punch stuns him, gives him a black eye and a bloody lip, but he's able to get back on his 2 feet, albeit wobbly and shaky because Cell is still way stronger than him at this point. Cell then immediately goes after Android 17, who is virtually defenseless against him because the power gap is too great. That is when Android 16 looks at him and says, "This Cell creature does indeed contain energy similar to that of Goku's. It's time to fight." So Android 16 basically runs in there and socks Cell straight in the face, sending him flying several meters back. When Cell gets back on his feet, he's angry and he charges right at 16, and they start giving each other the beatdown of the century, exchanging blows equally and doing equal damage to each other. They both start to wear each other out and whittle each other's energy down. Finally, Android 16 has had enough. He slams Cell straight on the ground and uses the Hell's Flash on him. This injures Cell extensively, but he's still alive and he arises out of the pit missing his tail. He regrows the tail, which lets the Z-Fighters know that he has regenerative capabilities. And then in this continuity, when Android 16 uses the Hell Splash on Cell, Cell does not immediately go after 17 like he did in the original storyline. Why? Because Piccolo is still in the picture. There's still too many distractions. He has to cut down on them. So he uses a solar flare and blinds the androids. Then he shoots a special beam cannon straight at Android 16, knocking off the top of his head. Just like in the original storyline, except this time he's able to do it much sooner. After having knocked off the top of his head, he tries to catch his breath and doesn't realize that Piccolo behind him had been preparing a light grenade that whole time, which he fires at Cell, hitting him squarely in the back and injuring him. It doesn't kill Cell because, again, the difference in their power level is still too high, so it doesn't kill Cell, but at the same time, Cell is not able to just brush it off. So Cell is greatly injured, he's wheezing, he's panting, he's leaking blood everywhere. He looks up, and much to his despair, he sees Tien Shinhan shooting a Shin Kiko Ho at him. This actually knocks Cell unconscious. Android 16 confirms that Cell is still alive. He says, "Cell is still alive, you must attack him again." And at that point, Tien releases a whole barrage of Kiko Hos. The androids even team up and they fly over the pit where Cell is laying, and they start shooting the same kind of attack that the future androids used to kill Gohan. They shoot energy bullets down at Cell too. This is just too much and it kills Cell. There's no nucleus for him to regenerate from. That's it. Cell is dead. Nobody got absorbed. Cell never transformed. So the androids then are grateful for Piccolo and Tien's help, and they choose to turn over a new leaf and not be criminals anymore. They actually choose to become good, basically. And Android 16 feels somewhat satisfied because somebody with Goku's DNA has been eradicated, so that partially satisfies his programming. Out of goodwill, Krillin offers to take Android 16 back to Capsule Corp to be repaired. He does this because he's trying to get in Android 18's good graces because he finds her attractive. So Bulma and Dr. Briefs take one look at the android and they're astounded at the fact that he has a bomb in him. So they quickly remove that, and then they proceed to reprogram him to make him not want to kill Goku anymore. Because Android 16 is not a human-based cyborg, he's completely robotic, the code for him is much simpler, and they're able to do it. So 16 is good as new, and he's on the human side, he's on the Earthling side, he's a good guy now. Vegeta and Trunks emerge from the hyperbolic time chamber, and they're a little bit disappointed that they didn't get to take any of the action. Goku says to them, "Piccolo and Tien killed Cell. You guys didn't even have to lift a finger." "Darn it, Kakarot! I got all this power for nothing? Well, time to have our rematch. I'm finally going to put you out of your misery, Kakarot." And that's when Trunks taps Vegeta on the shoulder and says, "Not yet, father. You may still be able to destroy androids, because there are still androids in my timeline we need to kill. Want to come to my timeline to help me?" "Sure, boy. Let's go." Vegeta and Future Trunks jump into the time machine and go back to Trunks' continuity, Future Trunks' timeline. There, Vegeta shares a kiss with future Bulma. He does see what she's gone through. He's overcome with gratefulness over her being able to keep Trunks alive all this time, and she loves him so much, and that makes him realize what he's been missing by treating the current Bulma so badly. So getting to talk with future Bulma is actually what turns Vegeta good. He's not going to be as evil in this continuity as he was in the original continuity. So on to the fight with the androids. Both Vegeta and Trunks fly onto the battlefield, and Trunks just eviscerates Android 17 with an energy attack just point blank in the face. Vegeta powers up to Ascended Saiyan and uses a final flash to get rid of Android 18, and he finally got revenge for his arm. His ego is feeling awesome until they sense a strange power level lurking around the corner. It is Cell. They feel creeped out. Vegeta says, "This creature feels like Frieza. I should go kill him." So basically Trunks and Vegeta jump future Cell. He really doesn't have a chance. it does not end up well for him. Before they go back from the future to the regular timeline, Vegeta says, "Wait a minute, boy. The time chamber that we just left, does the same one still exist in your timeline?" And Trunks says, "I don't know. Let's find out." So they go to the future hyperbolic time chamber and put in another year of training. And Vegeta says to Trunks, "Now you should be strong enough to handle any threats in your timeline, boy. I'm gonna go kill Kakarot now." At this point, Vegeta's power level is about as strong as he was when he participated in the Cell games. So he's stronger than Ascended Saiyan, but he's not quite to the same level of full power Super Saiyan Goku. He's maybe about half as strong as max power Mastered Super Saiyan Goku. They arrive back in the present timeline. Vegeta has had a power-up from another year in the hyperbolic time chamber. The moment that Vegeta and Trunks arrive back, Goku and Gohan exit the time chamber, and Vegeta is waiting for them, and he says, "Ready to settle the score, Kakarot?" Let me know what you guys think. Post your comments below if you want a part 2.